Welcome to today's explainer. Listen, we're diving into an ancient text today that absolutely blew my mind. I mean, it completely flips our traditional understanding of spirituality, of virtue, and what it really takes to achieve ultimate salvation. Let's get right into it. So, what is the ultimate secret to salvation? That's the central mystery driving our source material today. It's a question that, the greatest philosophers, the ascetics, and the most learned minds have literally struggled to answer for millennia. In our text, the character Markandeya is actually recounting a story to Yudhishthira about this exact thing, this grand, elusive mystery of religion and salvation. But here's the kicker. The answer doesn't come from where you might expect. We have a really stark role reversal here. Picture this. On one hand, you have a highly educated, deeply religious Brahmana. He studied all the texts, performed the intricate rituals, he's done the whole shebang, and he's actively seeking the ultimate religious truth. But he is the student here. He's actually seeking wisdom from a humble Fowler, a working-class hunter and meat seller. Now, by the societal standards of the time, the Brahmana should 100% be the teacher, but instead, it's the Fowler who already embodies this blissful, enlightened state. The Fowler basically tells the Brahmana, hey, I know every mystery of religion, and he's about to prove it by showing him the exact source of his virtue. Section 1. Inside the Fowler's mansion, seeing virtue with your own eyes. So, to prove his point, the Fowler invites the Brahmana to step inside his inner apartment to witness the secret firsthand. And the setting? It is completely unexpected. Our humble meat seller actually lives in a fine, beautiful mansion. The text explicitly describes it as being divided into 4 suites of rooms, resembling a celestial palace that would be admired by the gods themselves. We're talking fully furnished with comfortable seats and beds, and the air is just redolent with excellent perfumes. I want you to really picture this wild contrast for a second. A man with a gritty, messy, everyday profession coming home to a space of absolute divine luxury and peace. This physical space totally reflects his immense internal spiritual merit. Once inside this beautiful setting, we find the Fowler's aged parents. They're clad in pure white robes, they've just finished their meals, and they're resting comfortably. And the very first thing the Fowler does upon entering, before speaking to his esteemed guest, before taking off his shoes, before doing anything else, is immediately prostrate himself. He places his head completely at their feet. It is just this powerful, immediate display of utter reverence. The parents react with profound joy, and their blessing basically tells us everything we need to know. They say, "Thou art a good and dutiful son, for we are constantly and reasonably looked after by thee, and even amongst the celestials thou hast not another divinity to worship." They bless him with long life, knowledge, and high intelligence. But if you look closely at the text here, they specifically mention that his self-restraining power equals that of the Brahmanas, and that all his grandsires and ancestors are constantly pleased with him. His everyday piety to his parents literally echoes through his entire ancestral line. The text grounds this moment by having the parents compare their son to a very specific mythological figure. They compare the Fowler's devotion to Rama, the son of Jamadagnya. Now, this is a legendary figure famous for going to extreme lengths to labor and please his aged parents. In fact, they say the Fowler has done even more than him. So this sets up the premise that the Fowler isn't just, a nice guy. His actions are actively participating in and even surpassing a long-celebrated tradition of extreme filial devotion. Section 2. Parents as supreme gods. The ultimate mystery revealed. Okay, let's see how this builds to the massive reveal that the Brahmana has been waiting for this whole time. The Fowler introduces the Brahmana, they exchange their polite greetings, and then the Fowler turns to his guest and just delivers his thesis plainly. He says, "These, my parents, worshipful sir, are the idols that I worship. Whatever is due to the gods, I do unto them." Boom. That is the ultimate mystery of salvation he promised to reveal. He isn't out there seeking abstract deities in the clouds or diving into complex philosophical systems. His supreme gods are sitting right there in his living room in white robes. He seeks to please them always with offerings of flowers, fruits, and gems. He's essentially treating them exactly as one would treat a divine altar. And this beautifully illustrates the Fowler's entire philosophy. While others might worship the traditional 33 gods with Indra at their head, the Fowler simply worships his aged parents. While learned men meticulously keep the 3 sacred fires burning, well, to the Fowler, his mother and father are those sacred fires. While the Brahmana exerts himself performing sacrifices or studying the 4 Vedas, the Fowler states that his parents are as good as any sacrifice or even the Vedas themselves. He has completely replaced abstract theology with direct, tangible service to the people who literally gave him life. Section 3, Everyday Duty as Sacrifice, Tangible Actions of Devotion. So, what does this worship actually look like in practice? Because it's not just chanting at them. Let's transition from these lofty spiritual metaphors down to the practical, everyday actions the Fowler actually performs. The source text details exact, loving chores. The Fowler explains that his 5 life-giving heirs, his wife, his children, and his friends, are all dedicated entirely to his parents' service. But it gets even more granular than that. He assists them in bathing with his own hands. He washes their feet. He provides them with food. And crucially, this is a big one, he manages his own speech. He says to them only what is agreeable, intentionally leaving out what is unpleasant. True virtue, according to this text, isn't found sitting alone on a mountaintop. It's found in consistent, everyday labor, physical care, and immense emotional kindness toward your parents. Which brings us to a really fascinating definition derived directly from his speech, what we can call the Fowler's ultimate rule. He states, "I consider it to be my highest duty to do what is agreeable to them even though it be not strictly justifiable." Actually think about how radical that is for a second. His commitment to pleasing his parents supersedes all other standard justifications, logical arguments, or societal rules. If it makes him happy, it is his highest duty to do it. His entire moral compass is just perfectly calibrated to their comfort and joy. Section 4, The Householder's Eternal Duty, Revering the 5 Entities. Now, this isn't just some quirky individual practice. The text elevates this to a universal principle. The Fowler concludes his explanation by boiling all of this highest reverence down into exactly 5 key entities for any householder seeking true spiritual and earthly prosperity. And those 5 entities are the Father, the Mother, the Sacred Fire, the Soul, and the Spiritual Preceptor. Notice who sits right at the very top of this essential spiritual hierarchy. Before you worry about the sacred fire, before you tend to your own soul, and way before you seek out a spiritual teacher or guru, you look to your father and your mother. They are the absolute foundation upon which all other reverence is built. The text brings it all home with this final conclusion. By serving these 5 entities properly, one acquires the exact same merit as perpetually keeping up the sacred fire. The Fowler explicitly tells the Brahmana that this is the eternal and invariable duty of all householders. You don't have to be a learned ascetic living out in the forest to achieve salvation. The ultimate mystery of religion is sitting right inside your home. Everyday practical devotion is equal to, and maybe even greater than, the highest, most complex religious rituals. And that brings us to the end of our journey through this incredible source material. We've seen exactly how a humble Fowler taught a highly learned Brahmana the true meaning of virtue. So I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder today. How are you fulfilling your own everyday duties to those you revere? Are you looking for salvation way up in the clouds, or are you washing the feet of the people right in front of you? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep asking the big questions.